We all certainly know how hurricanes can whip up the waves and cause high winds and all the destruction that it brings. But did you know that hurricanes that can actually whip up toxic chemicals? This is an interesting study that took place in St. Augustine that found out that they do. There are these types of toxins called forever chemicals. They're part of the chemicals that are in everyday objects, from styrofoam food containers to Teflon coatings on pans. And it's a fancy name for those type of chemicals, but they're abbreviated, and they're called PAFS and PFAS. In fact, I'm not even going to attempt to say the scientific name for it because it's like per polyfluorinated alkali substances. Sounds scary. Certainly, it could be if you have like problems with your endocrine system, like hormones that can interfere with that. And in California, there's a type of warning on a lot of labels with these type of chemicals because it can cause cancer. So what's the point of all this? What's the relationship to weather? Well, the researchers at the University of Florida did some research at the Guana Research Reserve. There's like 9 different monitoring water quality sites, and they looked at when Hurricane Dorian was passing off our coastline. That's the hurricane there. It actually caused an increase of 177% of these harmful forever chemicals in the water. So it sounds pretty alarming, and it possibly is. They're going to be watching for future storms to come through to see how these chemicals move around in the watershed. Some of the higher chemical concentrations were naturally closer to areas that were more populated. So the areas that extend all the way down to Pellicer Creek, here's a map of that. And those areas had fewer chemicals than areas around St. Augustine. So it's something to think about, right? I always knew how it created, hurricanes created turbidity and kind of some waste from toxins in the rivers. But these natural or man-made chemicals that are these forever chemicals seem to be locked in the ground, and when it rains very heavy, some of that can wash into the watershed. So if you want to read more about that, go to newsforjax.com, where we keep you up to date on all the weather and interesting weather-related stories.